Hello, welcome guys. So this is where we ended last time, and then we did this container. So this container is supposed to contain the image of the food item, okay? But then we didn't put an image there. We just left the color there. So I downloaded an image from Google. Yeah, this image, okay, as a placeholder for any image that is not available. Okay. So what I'm going to do here is I think inside my prospect YAML, I've already added that image here, the path to that image here. Anytime that you add an image to your file, I mean to your project, you have to add it in the prospect YAML. Okay, so it's in the asset folder, images, and then no image that thing. Okay, so now inside my add food item here, as a placeholder, I'm just going to comment this line. Okay, and then this time you are going to specify the image there. So you can go ahead and then specify the image here, the creation image. Okay, and then there's an error here because there's supposed to be a comma here, and then we can also specify the image as asset image, and this we can go ahead and specify the path. Okay, and that is no image.png. Let's save it and see what we get. Okay, so we get the image there, and then that's good. So what I want to do is when the person clicks on the image, there will be a bottom modal here for the person to select from either a gallery or take a picture, and then it will be replaced with that one. Okay, so for now let's go ahead and then get the values from this test field. Okay, so we have the food title, we have the category, we have the description, we have the price discount. To do that, we have to create some variables to hold that. Okay, hold the values. We can just go ahead and say string title, string category, string description, um and then string the price. I'm using string for the price for now. You work with that. Okay, and then the discount. Okay, because the reason why I'm doing that is because any value that will be returned from this test field will be a string. Okay, so let's just go ahead, and now when I come here, you see we are using the same test field for all these for this test field. Okay, we are using the same thing. So how are we going to know that, oh, okay, this is for the food title, this is for the category? We can do a simple if check, okay, to know by using the hint that we are receiving from the test fields from here. Okay, so what we can go ahead and do is inside the test form field widget, there's an unchanged method that we can pass. Okay, and this unchanged method will be called when the form is fired to save the values. Okay, so this method will be called when the save method on the form is called. Okay, so we can just go ahead and string and its value. So whatever will be returned from this test form field will be a string. So now we can go ahead and check. Okay, for the can check for the test form field values here, and then we can check if the hint test, I mean the hint that we are receiving here is a full title. Okay, that's how we are going to know what we are actually receiving. Then I know that if that's the case, then this value that is coming here is for the title. Okay, that's how I do it. Okay, that's how I check it because I don't want to keep on writing different test form field for the application. So I check it this way. So if that's the case, then I'm going to save it in the title. Okay, and then inside the title I can now put the value there. So the whatever value I'm receiving, if it is hint is full title, then I know that I'm receiving it. The value is coming from the full title test widget. Okay, so I can save it here, and then I can just copy and then do the same for the rest. Okay, and then go ahead and then paste, paste. Okay, let me just bring all of them down here. So now I can check for category. Okay, it's supposed to be the same name, the same species. Okay, it should be exactly like this, otherwise you get an error. Okay, so we have this category here, and then if it's that's the case, we are receiving as category, and then we can save it. And if here too, we can check for what description. um Sorry, description. It's supposed to be the same name. Okay, then we can save it here. Sorry, and then we can check for the price too, and then we can go ahead with this price. Okay, so we are having these values now here. So I think it's left of one, which is the discount. Okay, so inside the discount, we also save that in our variable here. Okay, so now with all these things saved here, so when the save button on the save method on the form is called, this will be saved into their respective variables. Okay, but then we also have to do some validation. Okay, for this simple validation to just, so we have on the test form field, we have this validator, and inside this validator we also pass this method here, and we can also receive the value that is coming just like this, but then we can check and then make sure that each test field is validated. Okay, so we can check and say if the value, okay, if the value dot is empty, okay, if the value is empty and the hint equals food title here, then it means that the food title test form field is empty. Okay, you got my point. So we can now come here and then return what the food title is required, something like that. So we can do it something like this. Okay, so let's do the same thing. Okay, what I'm going to do is to create a variable here because we need to return a value here. So I'm going to create a value here, a variable here to say error message, and I'll leave it empty. Okay, or you can choose to put something there, an empty variable. Empty variable here. You can do it this way, okay. You can just leave it like before, and then when I come here, I'm just going to remove this one and then specify error message to this. Okay, so that at the end I have to return this error message. You get my point here. So we can do the same for the rest. Okay, I think so. Now we can go ahead with the description, and then I'll say the description is required, and then we can also check this one, which will be the category. Then I'll say the category is required, I think, for now, and then the price is also required. Okay, the price is required. For the discount, we can leave it empty for now. So we have this unchanged and then our validator now. So how do we make it work now? So the form field, the form widget has something called a key. Okay, we have to specify the key of the form so that we can call the save method on the form, and then we can get our values. Okay, so to do that, we can now go ahead and create a global key here. Global key. Okay, and then in this you can go ahead with the form state and then say food item form key, something like that. Okay, so we have our global key here, and then with this one we can now assign this key. Sorry, I was trying to copy. We can now assign this key to this side. Okay, so now we also need to work with this button here. Okay, we have to work with this button. When this button is pressed, we want to do something here. Okay, so let's see what we can do. I'm thinking of extracting this code from there, but for now let's just go ahead and surround this button with a gesture detector. Let me just go ahead and do it that way. wrap a widget, and I'm going to do that as a gesture detector. um, Detector. Okay, for me to get the press, the on press method here. So okay, on pressed, oh sorry, on top, yeah. So on top, when that button is tapped, we want to do something. So the simple thing we want to do is to check one. Okay, first we have to validate the form. We want to check our validation first, and then before we will save. So we will check if the form, sorry, is what's the name of the um food item. So if we check, and then the food item dot current state, okay, dot validate, okay. So when we call this method here, okay, on the form key, then it will validate, and then it will return whether true or false. So when we call this, and if this thing returns true, then we can go ahead and then save our form. Okay, so when we call this method now, this thing now, all the values that we enter into our test field will now be received, and then when received, it will be saved in our corresponded variables here. Okay, so let's save and then try and see something if our validation is working. Let's see. Okay, you can see our validation is working, and then we have a problem here that the bottom overflowed by 81 pieces. Okay, I knew that this is going to be an problem because um, this screen size here may differ from different smartphones. Okay, so what we can do here is to surround the scaffold with a single chart scroll view. For now, let me surround this one with a widget called single chart scroll view. Okay, and then let's save and see. Okay, I got a problem, sorry. Let's just go back. Sorry, not that place. Let's surround it with this side. Sorry, I made a mistake. So let's do it on this one. Single chart scroll view, and then let's save it. Okay, so we have it. So now I think we should be able to scroll. Let me just reload the whole thing now for now, and let's see what we get, because this is supposed to work. It's supposed to solve the problem so that we'll be able to scroll. Okay, let me just click on this thing again and see. I'm still getting the same error because it's still not scrolling. I don't know why this is it's not scrolling. It's supposed to scroll. Okay, let's try and see what the problem is. We have a single chart scroll view here. That's fine, and we have a container here. The container is taking the full range, the full size. Let me intentionally comment this out and see something. Okay, so we are having it. Okay, now the error is going. So I think putting the fixed size on the container whilst using this single chart scroll view will not work. Okay, so I'll just go since I don't like the fact that this thing is way down. I'm just going down to reduce the size, I mean the space between. Okay, so at least now it's here, it's okay for me. So you can see that we are getting our validation is working now. So if I enter something here, let's say something, and then now go ahead and let me just do this thing quickly. Okay, and then now I press this. You can see the error is gone for this one, but then this one is still remaining, and then this one too is still remaining. The rest are remaining. I think we didn't do the validation for the discount. Let's check. Okay, we didn't do that. I now come here and now paste it here, and then Oh, okay, yeah, we decided not to do it for the discount. Okay, but you can see there's a problem here. Even though we didn't do it for the discount, we can still see an error there. Okay, the reason is we are using the same variable for all. Okay, and it's not making sense at the moment. So what I think we should do here is to just return. When it's that way, then we can return. Okay, and then let me just, instead of creating the variable for it so that other ones will not be affected. Okay, let's see if it'll work. Okay, now I can just decide to let me see something here. Let's see and see. Let me reload the whole thing and let's see what we get. I'm reloading the whole application to see what we get. Okay, so now when I click on it, let's see what we get. Now we get the validation again, but then you can see that the discount is not affected. Okay, the discount is not affected. So I think the first approach wasn't a good way to do it. Okay, so let's just ignore that one, and we can now check. Let's enter something here. Okay, we enter something there, and then let's see. Okay, you see that now it's not underlined. Okay, so I think this one is okay. um Let me see if you can continue and go ahead. Okay, so we have this. Let me see the time. Okay, so let's just go ahead and then do something else. So now we have our values coming from the test field, and then they are being saved here. So we can go ahead and see if their values are being saved. So let's do some prints here. Say the description or the food title, and then let's intentionally print the title here. So when we want to just check what we are getting, and then let's open our terminal and check what we are getting here. Okay, so now when I press this, I should see the food title. I'm not seeing anything. Let me press again. I'm not seeing anything. Let me just reload the whole thing and see what we get. Okay, so now we have it. So when I come here and now enter something here, and then save. Oh yeah. I understand why we are not getting it. The reason why we are not getting it, we want to meet all the the code that we wrote is inside here, inside the validation code here. So all the validation is not met yet, so we can't see the thing. So I'll just quickly comment this code. Since we know that the validation is working, I'll just comment this line of code and then see what we are getting, because I just want you to know that we are getting the value. And then when I click again, now I'm seeing the food title here. Okay, I can go ahead and do the description and see. This is the long description. Okay, and then when I come here, I can now copy this code and also paste. Yeah, and then say food description. Okay, and then inside here I can just go ahead and put this, and then when I save and then click on this, I see the food title and then the food description given to me here. Okay, so enough. Let's uncomment this code because we want to validate before we save the values. Okay, so since this is working, we can now go ahead and so to pass this to our Firebase. Okay, let's go ahead and create our Firebase. Okay, so now when we come here, I've already created one project here, but then if you want to start, you just go to the firebase.google.com. okay, when you go here and then you are logged in your, let me just show you. firebase.google.com. When you come here, okay, this will take you to this place, and then you can click on the go to console. I don't want to use this account, so that's why I'm closing it. You can go to console here, okay. It's taking some time. I think my internet, okay, and then you can create a new application, okay, as you want. So I'll just close this one and then come here. When you create a new project, okay, you can give it any name that you want. You can give it any name. I've created one already, so I don't want to create another one. But then I think you should know the process of doing this, okay, because this is what I've created. So after you going through the process, okay, let me just do it with you because let's go ahead and then say 42 and then continue. Okay, so I don't want this one. I can just go ahead and create the project. So this will finish creating the project and it will take us to the dashboard or the page for us to do the rest. Okay, I'm waiting for this to finish. Okay, so we can now continue, and then when we continue, this will bring us here. Okay, mostly what people do in the Firebase is they go with the Android, and then they use the Android methods. You download the Google JSON, and then use it in your Android. But what I'm going to do is I don't want to use this. Okay, the reason is previously I was trying to use PHP for this application because the original app was built with PHP and people want to also know how to use the Firebase. So I want to make sure that everybody is on the same page. So I'm going to use the web API of Firebase instead of using this. Okay, so that the people that also want to develop this application with their own web APIs can go ahead and then follow the same procedure and it will work for them. So I'll go here to the database here. Okay, I'll go into our database here, and inside our database I'll go to create database, and then I'll start in test mode so that we can write to the API. Okay, so we go to enable. Okay, so this is saying that anyone can write into to your database. So that's okay, that's fine for now because we will later change it. So now I will come here and then copy this API here. Okay, this is the endpoint that we are going to use. So I'll copy this one, and then when we come into our app, okay, we are going to use it in our app here. But then before we pass data to our food model and then send it to our Firebase, we have to create an object because um we have a model for our food. So food model, we have this model. So when a button is clicked, we want to create a model, okay, a food model, and then pass it to our scope model here, okay, and then inside our scope model we will pass it to Firebase. Okay, so let's go ahead. When everything is done, we sorry, what's the name of them? I think it's food. Yes, that's okay. So we can now go ahead and say food, and we have this. So what we are simply doing here is creating an object here, okay, an object of the food model, and then passing all the values that we receive from the test field to it, and then we pass it to our scope model, food scope model. Okay, so let's just go ahead, and we know that this will have some name. So the name will be the title that we are receiving, okay, the title that we are receiving, and then the category will be the category that we are also receiving, the description. I think it's supposed to be I don't have description here. Okay, let me quickly go ahead and add that. We don't have description inside here. So I'll just go ahead and add this description. Okay, description, and let's save, and then let's come here. You see, we can do it in so many ways. We can create a map here, okay, and then send a map to our food model and then use that one. But I think any way that you want to do is okay. You can decide to use the map. Okay, let's go ahead and I'm sorry, it's supposed to be description, and then we can also go ahead with the price. We will work with the image later. Okay, so now the price, there's a problem here because inside our food model here, the price is what, a double, and then we are passing a string to it, so we have to do this double dot pass, and then we can, oh sorry, we can go ahead with the price that we are receiving, and then we have the discount. So and then we can go ahead with this discount. So I think that's it. We have 5 items. Yeah, 5 items. So for now this is okay. We work with the ratings and the image later. So we have this. So now after everything is validated, we create our objects, okay, and now we have to pass this to our food scope model, which is this one. So here too we have to find a way to receive this, okay, when we want to add food. So you see that we are receiving a model, an object here, which is the food. So we will pass it here, and then when we receive, we can add it there. So let me do something quickly for you to see. So before we add it to our Firebase, we can now come here. Let's surround this whole let's surround this whole gesture detector with the scope model descendant. Okay, so we have our scope model descendant, and then inside we can pass in a chart. Okay, and then we can go ahead with the, oh sorry, I'm not supposed to use this, I'm supposed to use the builder. Okay, sorry. And then inside our builder we can go ahead with specify the build context, and then we can also specify the widget child, and then we can specify the main model as a model here, and now return the button that we were getting here. Okay, so inside here when we have this, we're returning the button here. So now we can have access to the model, and if we have access to the model, then we can have access to this method. Okay, so if we come here now, when everything is validated, I want to call the model dot add food. Okay, and now let's make this more like a variable. So final food, okay, final food here, and it goes, and then I can now put this here and then save. Okay, so I'll end this tutorial here because I have to do something else, so I'll end it here and then later continue. Okay, thank you guys.